Welcome to the LOAH podcast, here where we discuss all issues occurring in these modern days of time, where we speak our minds based on facts and tell you all the truth. I'm LOAH, aka Lessons of a Housewife, and co-host Christina McGavin, the enlightened homemaker. Thanks for tuning in. How you doing, Christina?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Doing good. Our first episode on the LOAH podcast.
Yes.
Really excited.
So pumped. So excited.
So today is an actual topic of your choice. Would you like to discuss the topic today?
I would love to discuss the topic today. Yeah, let's bring that up. I really want to go into the trans agenda today, and kind of pull it apart for people that are curious about what's going on with that. I would love to get into what we think about it and our opinions on it, and just kind of break it down how it's a social contagion.
Into that. All right. So we have a clip available for you guys that we're going to sit up and we're going to review and discuss with you all.
Perfect.
Recently, I posted about how I wanted to help men and kind of bridge the gap of toxic masculinity and everything like that. And so I tried a trial and error post yesterday of my experience. And it's interesting, I commented on my stories about how a lot of you reacted so kindly, and then there've been hit or miss, but I just don't think I have it in me to try to help society understand how we treat men is like so dangerous to men, because nobody told me how lonely being a man is. And then to have all these comments about, and to have all these comments about like justifying the coldness to men, which is valid. But to just be remembered like, oh, that's right, everybody just sees you as the villain. But to have known, and I think a lot of trans men feel this, is we knew what depth felt like before we transitioned. We knew what it felt like to like have people want to hug us. And to have people want to talk to us. And to have a community. And then you transition and you're just a guy walking down the street that people cross the street so that they're not near you. And friendships are so much harder to build. And people are colder. And more detached. And I just don't think I have it in me to try to continuously be vulnerable on this topic, because it's so long story short. This is all the energy I have to give on the topic. Like, just try to think about how you can, in your small little community where you feel safe, can reach out to the men in your life and just help them feel maybe seen for a moment. Or do little conversations to help their emotional maturity.
Okay.
All right, Christina. That was kind of saddening and understanding at the same time. What do you think of the video?
Girl, when I first saw that video, I just thought it was so heartbreaking because, I think that video, there's so much that we can discuss just from that short clip alone. You and I, we were discussing earlier how like women need to really be in a community, in a sense of community where they feel heard and where we feel like we're with our people. Like, as we said earlier, iron sharpens iron. So I think that as women, and it's extremely important for us to be just have a community of other women around us that understand us and that kind of live the same way that we do. And now we're going through these challenges in our society, and these challenges in society where people are running away from themselves to try to be someone different, and they're finding out the hard way after everything's been done that that's just not the role that they were meant to serve. And this poor individual in this video, this woman, transitioned into a man because I guess she thought it would be easier. She felt that, she was somebody different than what she was. And now she's learning firsthand that being a man is not as easy as what society tries to claim it to be. Society tries to pin men as the villains, and they're toxic, and that they're a danger to society. And now this person is firsthand witnessing themselves like, men need to be appreciated. Men are lonely. Men are always in an isolated state. Men don't get the kind of treatment. Men don't get the kind of women, don't get the kind of treatment that women get. And it's just a very, very heartbreaking video to see that this person had to go to such lengths to understand that. And then, with the whole trans agenda, I think that it's just completely unraveling society in such a negative way. And I'm not going to judge anybody for, how they choose to live their lives. But I think that when you're running away from yourself, you're only going to find more problems in your future. And so this person, I don't even know what her name is. Her name, it's a woman, so I'm going to call her her. I think it's completely psychotic that we've gotten to a place where just because you feel a certain way, that means that that's the way that it is. Like, if you feel like you're a man, you need to get yourself some help. You're not a man. You can't be a man. No amount of cosmetic surgery will ever make you a man. I don't care if you get bottom surgery. I don't care if you do something to your chest. I don't care what you do. It doesn't make you a man. And these people are just furthering their confusion. They're furthering their depression. Suicide rates spike after 8 years of transition. So like, there's just so many things that we can get into today just based on that video alone. So I would love to hear what you have to say about that, Lo, and we can bounce off what you think and what you got from that video.
You were right on the money with that. It's funny that women today, especially in these modern times, think that men have more of a privilege. That's what they were lied to with this whole idea of feminism. This whole idea that you can actually be a man, you can, just because you can work now and make money, doesn't come along. They fail to realize that it came along with suffering. There's a lot of suffering for men. Men have to actually strive the hardest to get to a certain point in their lives to even be accepted. As we're born with acceptance, we're born with a beauty, we're born with sexual organs that attract men, and we're social creatures to where we can actually, if you have something similar with another woman, be connected. Men always challenge each other. Men always have to battle a ladder against each other. There's competition in a man's world than there is in a woman's world, really. We are more to where we can come together and console and be there for one another and work together. As in, men always have to fight each other, mentally, physically, and emotionally, because they have to hinder even certain emotions around other men. They can't show any form of weakness. And the lie that a lot of these women out here were told is that you can be exactly like them without that. And this is the perfect example. This woman who transferred or transitioned, however they want to call it, into a man, got a rude awakening about what it takes to actually be one and what you're considered when you are one. It is very lonely for men. You have mentioned that in numerous our talks about the loneliness a man has to deal with in the world, which is why us as women are supposed to be their helpmates and support, because then they know they have a group that counts on them. The importance in that gives them the drive to want to do better for themselves because they're constantly having to battle the world anyway. So it's a part of me is kind of like, what did you expect? Did you expect anything to come easier in life than an actual man because you decided to transfer to that? No. You're going to get a nice taste of what it is a man has to deal with on a daily basis. Both of our husbands bust their butts on a regular basis to solely provide, protect, and guide and lead the family that they have, and have to go against the world every day with it. They don't have time to really make friends, and they have to compete with the ones that they would like to consider their friends to get somewhere in life. A lot of that leeway that they want to live by on men comes later. It comes later when a man actually gets a peace of mind is after he don't work 40, 50 years. When he actually can retire, when he actually can take time to do stuff fun. No, men got to strive day in and day out. And it is sad to see, but it's like, is that what it takes for you to understand what a man is? I think that's where we fall short, is that a lot of us don't really understand what a man is, don't understand what a father is, don't understand what a husband is. We want all the benefits of each and every one of those, but yet we don't want to have to be put in their exact shoes. And it's so unfair that you think that you can get the privileges of the high earnings, and I guess the promiscuity that y'all think men are on, because you think men just follow their sexual organs, and that's it. That's all you want out of being a man. And that's not the case. There's a lot more
No.
hardships than that.
I was literally, you took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to say, it just shows how privileged women really are. Like, that video really just
Right.
shows that we have it so easy, and we try to claim this victimhood, like, oh, women have it so hard, we're not respected, men don't take us seriously, we're not getting fairness in anywhere in life, whether it's at the job or whether, regardless of where it is, like, life just isn't fair. And I think that is the most ridiculous mentality. So before we were interrupted by Mila, we were talking about the socialization of women, and how I feel that in modernized women, they feel like they're owed something. They feel like they're entitled. They feel um like victimhood. I think victimhood is huge in modern day society, especially with the women. They're just very, very privileged. I think that they're one of the most privileged beings that we have out there. Men don't have the privileges that women do, and we don't recognize that, and we don't not we, but women in modern day society just do not appreciate men for who they are. They walk all over men. They actually, there's women actually out there that are trying to intentionally hurt men because they're hurt. And two wrongs don't make a right. And it's just adding
Right.
to the sensitization of just the way that our culture is today. And that video that we had watched was just proof of that. This person thought that when they were a woman, they didn't have it easy and it would be easier being a man. And now that she's a man, or living her life as a man would, she's recognizing, wow, we do not treat men the way that we should be treating men. They're isolated. They don't have friends. Nobody shows them any sort of attention. They have it rough. And now I don't know whether she's aware of it or not, but she's like speaking for the benefit of men. Saying like, we need to be more attentive to them. Like, it's hard. Now that I'm living the life the way a man would, I'm realizing it's hard. So
Right.
and like you said previously, like, what did you expect? Like, you and I
Right.
are married, our husbands are very hardworking men. So we have a seat in the very front of how they live their lives and how isolating it is.
Yep.
So we know what it's like. Unfortunately, this person had to learn the very, very hard way of what a man goes through. And we're just going to continue to see that in society if people don't start taking a stand and taking back our culture, taking back our morals, trying to bring value to life again and bring value into our culture. America needs God. America is under attack.
Yes.
Spiritual warfare
Yes.
is at its height. And we're against principalities. We're against powers that we cannot see, but we can feel them. We can see them in other senses. Some people can't. You and I can see it for what it is, but other people are blinded to that. They still have the veil over their face. And you know coming to my faith is what made me realize that like a lot of us were living blindly, and many of us are waking up to it now, but there's still many of us who are asleep to it, and they're just going to continue to this downward spiral of society if we
Yep.
don't take it back.
Yes. I'm in total agreements with you. We've gotten to a point where our children are actually going to grow up with a lack of understanding of everything. They're
Hmm.
not benefiting from the society that we have right now, where people don't even know what gender they are, and people are willing to change the genders what they feel they is necessary for them to feel comfortable. We have a society ran around just emotions. There's no structure. There's no structure. Modern women causing chaos and music and everything else they involve themselves in, to where children can't even listen to music today. You
Hmm.
can you I'm at a point where I'm constantly reviewing everything that my daughter wants to be entertained by. And because there's always these little things, just of what this woman did is put in even shows. They're mutilating children based on how the parents feel the children should be. The children are not even perfect to them when they're born. They have to be something else. And a victimhood that they feed off of to make these type of decisions because it's incentivized now. We are very privileged. Women are a privileged species. We are a privileged gender, sorry. And it doesn't take much for us to even be a woman, hence why there's more men becoming women than there is women becoming men. Because right now, women just think that all you have to do is look the part. There's no basis behind what an actual woman is, not even gender. Just look a part and act a part. And it's sad that we have erased everything that makes us a woman to just the look, to just the look. We are
It
no
looks
longer a
fake.
gender, and the looks fade unless
Mhm.
you just want to work up to where you're constantly getting surgeries. That's gonna be the detriment to your existence, and it's sad. I honestly think that the whole transitioning community, the majority of the men transitioning are really trolling the women, as into y'all have it so easy I can be you. Y'all have it just that easy that I could be you. And I would prefer to be you than what I actually am.
They're trying to say like there's no substance or there's no depth to being a woman, and I love being a woman. I take so much I don't want to say pride because I don't think it's a good thing to be prideful, but I take a lot of like I honor the fact that I'm a woman. I birthed 3 babies. I have a husband who I love with my entire heart, who I commit my whole being to dedicating to my family. Like being a woman is meant to be honored, and it's meant to be modest, and it's meant to bring something to the table. Like we're not supposed to just sit around and look pretty all the time. Like I want more to my life than just looking pretty. I want to have a mind that I can think for myself. I want to have a big
Yes.
heart to share with my husband and the people that bring value to my life. Um, and I think that a lot of women in today forgot their roles, and now, like you said, like it's just run amok. And I don't understand like where all of this stemmed from. I think the feminist movement had a lot to do with that. The first wave of it, I can understand where they were coming from, but anything that followed suit after that first wave of feminism really started just kind of, that I think was the start of where society started going wrong, because you had all those feminine movements, and then from there you had the sexual revolution, and in the 70s they started bringing sex ed into the classrooms, and that's when kids started to break their traditional family values, and that's when they started experimenting outside of marriage. And then from there it kind of just, it's like a trickle effect, and then like then we
Yes.
had with the LGBT movements and all things like that. Then in 2012, we had Obama, who passed the legalization of being able to marry to the same sex. And from there, now we're having men that think that they can be women. We have women that think that they can be men. And like our roles are just, we don't have roles today. And I think that if we want to see society thrive, and if we want to continue to see a successful society for our generations to come, we really need to come as a whole, and we need to start speaking against this, because this is not what's good for society. I personally, I think, I don't think it's healthcare to transition. I think it should be completely eradicated. I don't think it's helping anybody. I think it's only furthering their
It's not.
delusions. I
Yeah.
think that what they need is really good mental health care. They need really good team of people that are able to really diagnose the internal deep-rooted issues of what it is this person's going through, and they need to bring that to the surface, and they need to face that head on. I think that's the only way a person is capable of growing and advancing in their lives, is by going through experiences in life, facing them head on, having to have that internal battle sometimes. That's what helps us grow. That's what helps us continue to move forward. And so now we're just seeing we're seeing a societal collapse. And if we don't have strong voices that are going to start coming to the surface and speaking about these hard topics, then we're just going to continue to spiral. And so with the whole trans agenda, I think I personally think that it's a spiritual malady, and I think that it's an internal void and it's internal battle that's something really only God Himself can heal and can fix. And so I think that I would like to see a lot of people, instead of turning towards their delusions, turning towards light instead. And whatever that looks like for you is what it looks like for you. But for me, I call that God. I call it Jesus. He saved my life in many more ways than one, and he gave me the life that I have today. But I also
Yeah.
don't want to lead with faith, because a lot of the reason why I think the way that I do definitely stems from my faith, but I don't think it takes rocket science to know that men can't be women and women cannot be men. And it does not matter what kind of body modification that you get. Like it doesn't make any sense to me. And I think when you really say it to yourself and try to break it down, it sounds delusional. Like, just saying I was born in the wrong body sounds absolutely delusional to me. And the fact that
Yeah.
anybody can believe that, I think, is delusional. And the fact that it's on such a wide, such a wide scale, like worldwide, we have people now that are just falling into this trap. And it's a money making industry. It's billions of dollars that these hospitals and that these clinics are making through these people. They're lifelong patients. Once you get put on those medications, you can't come off unless you expect to detransition. So they're lifelong patients. And then when they get these gender confirming surgeries, it's only adding to the harm. A lot of these people, they're going to have to get multiple corrective surgeries after the first initial surgery. A lot of them are getting infections from these surgeries. A lot of people are going to have lifelong illnesses from these surgeries. They're going to have shortened lifespans because of these surgeries. These surgeries and this form of healthcare, which I don't think it is, it's doing nothing but harming life. And I think that you and I, we're very much on the same path when it comes to wanting to discuss these hard conversations. And I welcome anybody, regardless of what side you're on, to come and take a listen. Like, don't shoot the messenger. We're just speaking openly and honestly on how we feel. And I think that we do need to really start having these conversations, because people really need to start waking up to this. It's delusional. It really is.
And you're right about that. I recently found a clip I actually want to play for you that I saw this morning.
Today, I'm really proud to sit on WEF's Power of Media Task Force, and GLAAD is a very proud partner of the Partnership for Global LGBTQI Equality, which is also known as PGLE. And PGLE was launched right here in 2019 and is a project of WEF and the UN Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights. We work with the news, business, entertainment, faith leaders, sports, governments, and individual activists from around the globe to ensure and educate public people on LGBTQ issues and move policy forward. In the U.S., the Gallup poll this year showed that over 20% of Gen Z are LGBT. We've been running studies ourselves that include the Q, and so it's LGBTQ, and we expand the age from 18 to 34, and you can see nearly 40% of Gen Zers identify as LGBTQ.
Are we really going to sit here and pretend to be shocked that the World Economic Forum has been behind all of this? One of their biggest goals is to destroy the nuclear family, population control.
I'm not surprised that 20% of Gen Z are saying that they're part of, LGBT, that they identify within that community. I mean, it's all over the schools now. There's a lot of crazy things going on within the schools. It's almost as if the schools are a part of it and they're a part of the agenda. And now we're looking at California, where laws are being passed where people's children can be taken from them if they don't confirm their gender identity. So it's getting scary now, to the point where your children could be taken from you if they fall victim to this ideology. And if you're trying to steer your child in the right direction, they can actually be taken from you now in the state of California. So we're going to obviously start seeing all these liberal states start to weave in these laws. And I think it's a very vicious, evil agenda. It destroys people's lives. It completely distorts their minds and makes them just live in pure confusion. And these people are just so, they're so committed to this agenda. They're so blind to it, to where they actually think what they're doing is good. and they think that what we're doing is bad, when in reality we're trying to bring you back down to earth, and we're trying to let you know, hey, there's a better way of living. You don't have to completely go and just unravel your entire life. Like it's almost like they're serving this as some form of deity. And this is something that I actually wanted to go into. I truly feel that, you know, and I don't just say this because I'm a Christian. Like, I genuinely believe this to be true. I feel that if you don't find your identity in Jesus, you will find your identity in something within the world. And obviously, if you fall within the world, it's going to consume you.
Find another clip for you to review.
Perfect.
I'll go ahead and put that clip on so we can get back into the mood.
Okay.
So let me see here.
Visibility is the key here, because visibility, I always say, lays the groundwork to move rights forward. And until you build acceptance, until you're safe just walking down the street being who you are, it doesn't matter whether or not you have rights. It does, and we need to move that forward. And the way that we move that forward is by people knowing who we are. And in places where it's illegal and punishable by death, you can't do that. That is a real risk, right? A serious risk. So how can we infiltrate or work with media, corporations who put information out to get the word out, to bring visibility? Because if you don't know who we are, then you're usually fearful of what you don't know. But once you meet someone or you see somebody, and so, you know, that's something that we're combating in the US, is that only 16% of US people say that they know someone who's transgender. So who's making up the gap in education? Media. And right now, because that community is being so targeted and the media is picking up those stories, it's really sending the wrong message about who those folks are. Visibility.
Notice how she said infiltrate the media. It's the first thing I like screamed to me. Infiltrate the media. Let's infiltrate the media so we can brainwash the masses into believing a false sense of reality.
Yeah, the media, corporations, anybody that has some sort of power out in society. Let's go ahead and infiltrate them to push this idea, because of course other countries, right, they don't accept it, and it's dangerous for this small minority of people who are considering to mutilate themselves. You know, we got to have corporations and the media move forward with this to make everyone aware. They're openly admitted. I had messaged someone earlier today that a devil will tell you its plans. So listen well, you know, and that's kind of how I see the World Economic Forum. Not only do they have this idea of the population and they have this idea of the one world order, they also want to push this alphabet community agenda in any way possible in front of your children, force businesses to go along with it, just and the media to say everything they need to say, so people have to accept it.
Right.
They are forcing everyone to accept something that they know majority of the people don't agree with.
Yeah, it's like,
We
I
have
want to know what rights you don't have that we have, because I feel like they're more privileged. I feel like they have more rights than we do, because now we can get in trouble for just stating the obvious. Like, there's people
Right.
that are losing their jobs. There's people that are losing a lot of things because they're not willing to commit or conform to this ideology. And like when someone comes up to me, I'm never going to sit there, for as strongly as I disagree with this whole movement. I will never disrespect someone, you know, for just being a person. Like, I think that they're highly troubled. I think that they need a lot of help, but I will never sit there and like demean someone or belittle someone for the struggles that they're going through. However, I have absolutely no patience for the people that are knowingly pushing this agenda, and that they're knowingly infiltrating it, and they're knowingly pursuing children and trying to indoctrinate them. Like, there's people that genuinely suffer from gender dysphoria, and my heart goes out to those people, because I can't imagine what it must feel like waking up every day feeling that on that level of confusion to where you feel like you don't even belong in your body. Like, I don't understand what that feels like, and my heart truly goes out to people that suffer with that. I have zero tolerance for the people that just decided that it might be easier, or decided like it's a trend and I'm going to go step into that. And a lot of people will disagree that it's a trend. I think it is. I think that a lot of people are falling into this way of life because it's appealing to them, because it's trendy, because, a lot of children are seeing these other kids get this, special treatment for being trans. A lot of kids are being held on pedestals and getting book deals, and all of the parents are the ones that are benefiting from this, when in reality their child is just furthering down this, furthering into a spiral. And they're the ones that are benefiting. They're getting TV shows, they're getting book deals, they're getting interviews, and they're the ones pushing their kid. Like, I can't understand and I can't comprehend how a mother can sit there and give her child hormone blockers and allow her child to be taking artificial hormones on an astronomical level that they're like, I can't understand it, and I don't want to understand it, because every cell, every fiber of my being tells me that this is wrong, and I can't stay silent about it anymore. I've been silent about it for far too long.
I highly agree. It's there's a lot. There's a generation that's going to grow up and not know that they were actually indoctrinated on something, and it's even sadder when the parents are pushing the whole idea and enforcing this whole idea on them also. There was a clip that I seen of a little boy on a live stream. He was admitting that his mother was never happy unless he joined the the alphabet community. I hate.
Doesn't matter if I am gay or lesbian or any of that. She doesn't care. All she cares about is that I'm a part of it. And if I'm not a part of it, she'll try to convince me to join it. Cause
What are you saying right now?
Facts.
That I would convince you to join what?
The LGBTQIA plus community.
I think that this is the biggest social experimentation since we've seen in many, many, many years. I know for World War II, they were conducting a lot of experiments on the people within the Holocaust. I think we're looking at almost like a second round of that. We're experimenting on children now. I think it's absolutely disgusting. And we can't sit back anymore and just watch it happen. I feel like a society, especially those who can think for themselves and are still capable of thinking critically, it's not just, we have a duty and a responsibility to bring morality back. We have a responsibility to say, hey, this is wrong. We should not be doing this. As neighbors, as citizens of the United States of America, we need to take that role we need to really take that into consideration, and we really need to treat it responsibly. I think that it's our duty to come out and to start combating this. It's wrong. It is so wrong, especially to be doing this to children. But I don't think adults should be allowed to do this either. I'm not that kind of person that says, hey, when you're an adult, you should be able to do whatever you want. No, you don't have the right to mutilate your body. You don't have that right. Just because you're an adult doesn't mean that you can go and completely ruin your life. So I think that this is not a form of healthcare. It should be completely eradicated, and these people need to get the help that they so desperately need.
I'm highly agreeing with you, especially if it's now to where even our army has been weakened. Having a son that's actually just joined, do have some concerns, and knowing that their importance of their army is more on this group of people that decide to only join just to get the free medical care of transitioning, would pretty much say that there's a risk of my son being in harm, because they're not there to protect the country. They're not there to go really fight if we have to, because I honestly believe there will be a time we have to. And my son's joining with a group of others that are not concerned about anybody, not even the brotherhood anymore, but themselves. And it is ridiculous that we can even have a government agree with that type of transaction for people joining. I don't understand that. I really don't.
You made a good point, and it's like, I'm sorry, did I just cut you off?
No, go ahead.
No, I think you made a really good point there when you say that, like, they're now joining for themselves, because our men are signing up to go to the front lines of war for their fellow American. So it's the most self-sacrificing someone can do is step into the line of danger because they want to protect you. So it's like you made a really fantastic point. That's not happening anymore. The people that are going into the army are only going in for themselves. So what does that mean for us? Right? Like that's a scary thought. What does that mean for their brother that they're going to be fighting beside? When you're going into it, something so self-sacrificial for your own good, like for your own reasoning. I agree with you. I think that's a dangerous position to be in for all of our men in the military, for all of our citizens here. When you're going and you're stepping into lines of war just because you want to get a surgery, like that's an issue. Like that's we got some problems there.
Major issue, because I've seen in other countries on how they keep their men trained. They're keeping the sons trained. They're focused on if there's any threat, we are going to annihilate it. As in, our army is more concerned on, hey, I can get breasts now if I join. I can get a bonus now if I join. It's not even, look, I'm going, and I'm a wife of a veteran, so his sole purpose when he going was, okay, who are we going to have to take down to make sure this country's good? That was his sole goal. He wound up becoming a specialist and a sergeant general and everything, where he tells me stuff that I'm like, wow, you goodness gracious, you should be a scientist. Well, information that you know, but and everything that he's seen. So like he went in there understanding the basis behind of what this army is for and what are they doing for the country, and now we just have an army of, hey, I can get fake breasts now. I can get paid a little bit more now because of this idea of what I think I am and not who I actually am.
Mm-hmm.
And we just have a whole weak army front that if there was any threat that was to come to this country, they were going to run. I just got money to buy these boobs. I'm not fighting nothing, like even the internal part of this country is like that because we have been conditioned for the convenience that it's built on right now. America's a beautiful country. It really is. We are the most prosperous country in existence globally. And it is being ruined with just these certain ideas, taking away fathers, taking away morality, taking away virtue, taking away all of everything. Try even starting to ruin the whole aspect of business behind it. They want it to be another third world country because you control a country that doesn't have anything.
You're absolutely hitting it right on the head with that. And my girlfriend, very close friend of mine, her brother is like very high ranked in the military, and like they were talking, and he's like, it's getting concerning. No one's joining anymore. Like no one's signing up for it. So now we're left with people that are in the military. A lot of them are just genuinely confused about who they are. We're watching our country just completely collapse from the inside out, and it's so heartbreaking because you're so right. Like America used to be that light that lit the world. We used to be the one that, we used to be the country that the American dream. Everybody knew what the American dream was, and everybody was coming here the right way for that American dream. And now it's gone. We don't even know why we're here. Many people are out there just only living for themselves. And I don't think that's the way to go. I don't think that's the way to live a thriving, successful life, a flourishing life. When you're only living for yourself, I think we find true happiness and true joy when we're sacrificing things for others.
Yes, that's what love is. I didn't mean to cut you off, but
No,
I
it is.
I had spoke to someone of my definition of love and is the actual sacrifice. Because a man will sacrifice everything that would make that is, for example, not everything that makes him a man, but the one major blessing and curse that they have is their sexual drive. And that's a major sacrifice that they will take to have a family and a good wife. Just like we are supposed to make the major sacrifices of either certain groups that we were with, certain things that is not allowed, the order and structure of the home that we're supposed to remain. Discipline is behind love. Structure is behind love. There's always going to be something that you have to let go of to keep things going on a positive way. You can't just be negative all the time and expect a positive world to be in the forefront. Like it's not that's not how it works. And I'm glad you said that. I think that is the major thing of what love actually means, because I know for a fact that society has no idea of that 4-letter word. They don't. They think love is whatever someone does for me, as in instead of what I can do for someone else.
Right.
And us as women, we're supposed to be the ones that are more than willing to do for someone else. We are supposed to be the helpmates and the ones leading the next generations. We're supposed to have the most selfless acts to show the proof of love, because the men are already sacrificing their body, their mind, and everything and all the hardships they go through to even be productive in society, to be on the side of creation. So
yeah, I mean, there's just so much that we could get into. Like, it's just, I think that you and I, like, we've been feeling these feelings for so long that, like, I don't even know how to go about everything that goes through this mind of mine. I'm just really glad that we're getting this started, because
yes,
I think that there's more people out there than what is said that want truth, that are looking for truth, that are being driven to find truth. I do believe that there's an awakening going on right now. And I think that it's because things are getting bad. You got to also realize too, like, for generations now, we've had no struggles. Really, it was since, like, what, World War II? That was really like our last, there's been a couple wars after that, but we got very, very, what's the word I'm looking for?
comfortable.
Yes, like, we got too comfortable in being comfortable. So it's like, we're not raising our children to think with certain mindsets anymore, because we think that the government and people around you are going to do it for you. And the government realized that, and they're like, okay, the parents are giving us their kids to raise, or, through school, we can do whatever we want with them now. And so now it's like, our educational systems are just, so that's where it's all starting, like, especially in higher level education, that's where it's all starting. Now we have they're not even teachers anymore, they're just indoctrination camps for kids, and all of the good teachers are being driven out, and they're being all of these crazy wacky weirdos are being put in place with the purple hair and the rainbow hair, and you walk into classrooms and there's rainbow flags everywhere. That's
you can always point them out. You can always point out those teachers. But now it is actually a label. It is a label now. And it's kind of like, you can't be mad if people look at you that way, because you're wearing the actual uniform of these crazies. So I always say, when it comes down to even changing the whole women out here, they have to change their outer looks also. It can't just be that you can regurgitate and say everything that you think men want to hear, and you still got on the lashes and the colorful hair and you look like a thought. You have to be, as you change your inner, you have to be you have to conduct yourself in a different way too. You have to carry yourself in a different way. I can't really take any of the people seriously if they do have different color hair and piercings and everything. And I'm not gonna lie, when in my early 20s, I had a nose piercing. That was the farthest I ever went. I took that out after I got married. I asked my husband, I was like, he told me, nah, I love your natural hair. Got natural hair. I locked my hair. He loves locks. I don't dig a nose ring. I took it out. You don't have to say, he shouldn't even have to say it twice, because he's the one I want to impress. So if y'all really out here screaming that y'all want this type of recognition, but yet you still carry yourself a certain way, you're going to be looked at that way. That's how y'all made it now. Y'all made it that. We were at a time in society where you could be dressed certain ways, but wouldn't be approached a certain way. Right. Because everything was a little bit better. She could look like this, but I could give the benefit of the doubt. But now we're in a perfect time of information to where everything can actually be documented. Back when history was had to be talked and written, we actually can document it. We actually have videos. That's the X factor in this whole internet thing. So now we have a huge documentation of certain characteristics that people carry and how they dress. We have a right to assume that's the type of person you are. That's the characteristics you have. Right. Right. And I believe it started when we thought that we didn't need men. I believe feminism and the whole idea of women had it. It was the start of the trickling point. I do want to talk about that movement exactly on another episode, everyone. But I gotta say that we are the ones, not necessarily us, but women in general are the ones that actually would be in agreement of anything like that. We are the only ones. Men, they kind of like, they stay away from that. They don't really sit there and try to be like, oh, okay, that's cool with me. No, they're kind of like, no.
Right.
So with the lack of covenants that we had over the women population and all the freedom that we were given, the sexual liberation and stuff, this was the inevitable outcome. It was the inevitable outcome. And now it's to a point where there's men that's going to be like, hey, I'm proving to you as a gender and species that y'all do not exist the way you think you are. And I'm going to use your identity to infiltrate children, possibly grape and everything else with them. There was a clip recently where a guy had to stop a guy that was supposedly transgender from talking to a 12-year-old girl. Like that. We're in a time now that we actually aided and abetted behaviors of people and want to change names and look at everybody as a victim there, even when they're offenders and predators. We want to give the mass an excuse on how they have a sickness and it's not what you think it is and all of this stuff, instead of it actually being what it was, to where they even named it, what is it, child lovers or
minor attractive people.
Minor attractive people. Minor attractive people. That's acceptable now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to get so bad to a point there's nothing we can do about it. I also watched another clip of a 40-year-old man that actually was messaging an 11-year-old girl, and the uncle of the 11-year-old girl called the police. The police is standing outside his door talking how they're going to arrest the 11-year-old girl because she sent the pictures to the 40-year-old man. It's gotten to that point now.
What?
Hi.
Yeah, she's in bed now. It's already asleep.
Well, it still happened though, right?
Yeah. I just the whole point. I just wanted you guys to come over and talk to her. I mean, I just want her to realize what this was. I mean, in reality, there's not much you guys probably can do about it, is there?
I mean, she could probably get charged with child porn.
Who, she can?
Mm-hmm.
She's 11 years old.
She's creating it, right?
She's 11 years old.
It doesn't matter. She's still making porn.
No, she's not. She's being manipulated by a grown-ass adult on the
internet.
Is she
taking pictures now?
You guys have a nice evening.
Okay.
Thank you for coming. Are you serious? Have a nice evening.
What?
That they were willing to, well, she's the one that's pushing the pornography, sir. So she's going to get arrested as well.
That's so disgusting.
They don't look at the perpetrators as perpetrators. They don't look at these predators as predators.
They're victims.
They just don't happen to like minor attractive children, right?
Yeah, and it's like the feminists, you were so right. Like, they're the ones that really brought all of this in. And now we have women that aren't just excusing this behavior, they're welcoming it. Like, they're welcoming it into their homes. There's people that, I think we're looking at Munchausen by proxy, like with all these women who are allowing their children, who are forcing into their children's lives to transition or to be something that they're not. My problem is, like, how do you expect us to accept you when you don't even yourself accept you? Like, clearly you don't accept yourself. You're trying to be entirely a new person. How can I accept you when you can't accept yourself as who you truly are? So, like, that's a big problem for me. Like, and I can understand, like, because I had my own internal struggles and battles at one point in my life where I didn't know who I was. I was running away from myself. And I think a big portion of why I feel so strongly against this movement is because I was so similarly there, with the struggles that I was going through with my life. And I can understand it to an extent. Like, they're trying to run away from something by being someone entirely different. But like I had said previously, you can't run away from you. Like, you bring you everywhere you go. You bring yourself with you. And so when you're going through internal struggles, like, what we have to do is we have to face those things head on. We got to face our fears. A lot of people are being silent on this issue because they're afraid. They're afraid of how they're going to be treated. They're afraid of what their employers are going to say. But if we all stood up as a whole, everybody who saw this movement for what it genuinely is, if we all stood up together, we would be a force to be reckoned with. We would be the ones that would be leading the way. And so really, we just need people to start speaking out against this. Like we agreed upon earlier, it's a responsibility now. Children are being involved now. We have mothers that are harming their own children now. They're the ones that should be getting taken from, you know, those women are the ones that should be going through some sort of, program, not the people that aren't confirming their children to be a different sex. Like, we're combating this. Those that are combating this and that want what's best for their child shouldn't be the ones to have their children stripped away. Society is just so backwards. It really is.
Bizarro world. We are
living in
a
a
bizarro
Twilight
world.
town, I swear. Twilight, what is it called? The Twilight Zone or whatever. Something like that.
And you know, it's what's crazy is that we do laugh and giggle because it's so crazy, but it's not funny. It's really not, because we are really damaging everything to come in the future for the children. You know, we're literally handing them hell in a handbasket.
And I don't think people understand that if we just stand up, those at power, their game is over. You know, it's like the game is being played right on our backs, and all we have to do is stand, and it's done. And people don't even want to do that. We got too complacent, and I think that was the plan all along. I think get America complacent so America won't realize when we're trying to destroy them. And now we're watching it unfold and
keep them entertained.
Entertainment, yeah. I mean, and look at the entertainment today. It's like I read this theory that, you know, Hollywood, and this is probably getting off topic, so like we can stop, but it's Babylon. It's current day Babylon, and it's because, you know, it's affecting the entire world. Like, our Hollywood has affected everything with the culture of it, with the content that we're feeding, with the music that's being put out there. It's a big reason why our children are being misled. They're looking to these influencers as role models, but in reality, they're doing nothing but causing harm to our people. Glorifying drugs and sex and money and promiscuity and showing your body. And then we got Kim Kardashians out there that little girls are looking to as role models, and instead of looking to women like us who want to be mothers and wives and homemakers, they're looking at these women who are selling their bodies on the internet, and they say, I want to be just like that. And so it's like we are definitely living in a very, very tumultuous time right now, and I'm just glad that you and I can do this. Like, I'm so glad that God placed you in my life and that I found someone that is just so on point with the way that I operate and think. It's just amazing. I don't think it was by accident. I think everything is by, I think that there's a plan and a purpose behind everything. And I don't think us coming together is by accident.
Not at all. I'm in agreement with you on that. And I think we did phenomenal on this one. It's our first episode, you guys. I hope y'all enjoyed it.
Bear with us here. Like, we're going to grow with you guys.
Right. We watch us grow. We're going to have all different types of topics. Like I said, we're here to discuss all issues occurring in these modern times that we're living in. We speak our minds based on the facts, and we tell you all the truth. I am LOAH, Lessons of a Housewife. And this is my co-host, Christina McGavin, the enlightened housewife homemaker. I thank you guys for watching this, and please subscribe, leave your comments below, and we'll see y'all next time.
See you on the next one. Yeah.